Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another one from our Ireland trip. I'm super excited to bring it to you because it has a lot of photos from the museum from the Book of Kells at Trinity College there in Dublin. And we learned so much there. It was so fun, and I have just oodles of pictures, but I had to kind of weed through them and pick out the best ones. And so what you're seeing in the layouts from the Book of Kells are really the best ones from all 9 of us who went on this trip. And so though there are a lot of these layouts, I hope you'll bear with me because we want to remember this, so it's going in our album. But this particular layout you're going to enjoy because this actually comes from the sketchbook. And so let's go ahead and check out my workspace and get started. Here's my workspace for today, and you'll recognize this as the right side of the last page that we did in the Ireland series. We're still at Trinity Library and taking a look at the museum for the Book of Kells. And you might recall this is a anciently transcribed book and has a lot of history to it, things that I never knew about. And so we learned a great deal at this exhibit. Today's layout, we are going to use the our custom border maker system and the trimmer, our 12-inch trimmer, but I'm going to go ahead and follow this sketch, which I found in the sketchbook from a couple of years back, the 110, I think it's called 110 Scrapbook Ideas and Sketches. There we go. And this came out in 2021. So if you have this book, then you'll be able to find this sketch on page 110. And I think this is going to work really, really well for our photos today. The papers that I pulled for this layout, I pulled a while ago, and because I pulled them a while ago, unfortunately, I didn't jot down the paper pack they came from. So I apologize for that. If you are a CM person and you're watching this video and you happen to recognize which collection or paper pack these come from, if you wouldn't mind dropping a note in the comments, that would be great, because I've racked my brain and I am not coming up with anything. I've asked a few people if they get back to me and are able to let me know, then I certainly will add it to the description of the video when I post it. But I really, at this point in time, I don't really remember. It just really worked with the coloring of the photos, and I think it will turn out really, really nicely. So anyway, if you recognize it and can share, that would be awesome. Okay, I'm going to set these photos up here. I have trimmed them just a little bit so that they are at, most of them are at 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And I don't think we're going to be matting anything today, but if we do decide to mat, that will make it really easy. I have a piece of dark sea green cardstock. I have a piece of this kind of paint blotched paper with this striped or lined page on the back. This is a polka dot paper with all these same colors in it and the white background, and this is a burgundy paper with what looks to me like a drawing of a tape runner on it that has been arranged in a decorative way, which is kind of cool. And then of course the dots are on the back of this particular paper. Okay, so we're going to use all 3 of these designer papers. Then we're going to also use the cardstock that we've got here. We're going to start with the splotchy paper, and this is going to be a 2-page layout rather than a 1-page layout. As you could see from the sketch, it is designed to be a 2-page layout, which is nice because typically I'm taking a 1-page layout and turning it into 2. I need 2 1-inch pieces, so we're going to cut one and then we're going to cut another one, and I'm measuring on the right hand side of my cutting line for 1 inch. So there's those 2 pieces. Then in addition to that, the Sludgey Paper also has 2 pieces that are 3.5 inches. So for those, I'm going to measure on the left hand side of my cutting line. So 3.5. Again, I should mention that if you are new to my channel, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, I sure would appreciate it. I'm awfully close to my goal, but I do need a few more subscribers. So if you wouldn't mind going ahead and doing that for me, if you like what you see here and you would like to see more, that would be great. That would really help me be able to continue providing videos for everybody. Alright, so let's see. This one isn't necessarily directional because the back is very abstract, but this, I just like the way the pattern looks going this direction rather than this direction. So I want it to go across my page this way. And so I'm going to cut this. I need 2 pieces that are at 4.5. So I'm gonna go here, 4.5. And that should leave me with 3 inches left. Yep. So I've got a 3 by 12 piece. And I need a 3-inch piece of the dots, so we'll just leave that there. And then we'll come in here with this one and cut one more 3-inch piece and use the dot side of this. We're going to punch some things, and let me explain what we're going to do. I love this Brocade chain punch that we have, and I feel like it really works well for the photos that we're going to use. Just the style works really well. So we're going to punch 2 pieces, 2 borders of the Brocade chain out of this dark sea green. Alright, and then we're going to punch 2 additional borders, and this one gives you a little bit of flexibility because this border that we need to cut simply needs to have some kind of a scallop edge. And I found 4 border cartridges that I have in my arsenal that would work. You just need, basically you're only just looking for how the edge looks on this, where you won't see the rest of the punched area. We only need to see the edge. So it depends on if you want something that's kind of an open loop. You can use the mirrored scallop border chain. If you want something that's more of a loop on an angle, but you really are only going to see just the very, very edge. This one is the spring leaf punch. I'll just put it in there. This one is the ribbon lace chain, and this one you would really only see the edge of as well. You won't see that cutout area. So there's that. And then this one is called the cable weave chain. This one I think goes back just a little ways more and may have been an advisor only border maker cartridge. I'm not really sure, but it's a fun one. You can lace something through if you want, or just use it as it is. I believe that for my purposes today, even though in the sample in the sketchbook they use this one, the spring leaf punch, But for my purposes today, I believe I'm going to go ahead and go with the mirrored scallop chain punch. But really, any of these, like I said, any of these would be workable, would do what you want them to do. So no worries there. Okay, but for me, I'm going to just use this one. All right, so I'm going to punch 2 of these. All right, and then that leaves us with 7.5 by 12 that we could make some mats with if we get that far and decide that we need that. So we'll see how that goes. Here is again that sketch that we were looking at, and we're going to use the brocade chain. We're going to use this to go across the top here. And we're going to use the other one, the mirrored scallops, are going to go across the bottom down here. So that's why I said you will only see just a portion of it, because it'll just barely peek out from the bottom of that paper. Okay, so let me grab our pages and we'll get to assembling. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to work on the left-hand side here real quick. And I'm going to turn it so that the center, my center hinges are at the top of my page for just a second, because it will just make it a little bit easier to go ahead and add all of these pieces on. Okay, so first of all, we're going to add the 1-inch strip, and it's going to go at the very top, right along the edge. And typically I usually start from the center and work out, and this time I'm actually working from the outside edge in, but I think I'm gonna have to go back to my standard, because this page is just shy of being, this piece of paper is just shy of being exactly 12 by 12. So I'm going to start from the middle like I usually do, just to ensure that any gap is out here on the outside edge. Okay, so we're going to have that piece, then we're going to have, then we're going to have the dots, then we're going to have this piece, and then we're going to have the wider of this. So I'm going to actually add this piece on, and then we'll do the ones in the middle, because my brocade chain can cover up if I have a gap. So we're going to work from the other side here for just a second. So all the way into the jeeping, with the right edge of the paper right at the base of my page, like that. And then add this larger piece, has the red. Maybe I should turn it around so I have the center towards me. That would make more sense for me. Alright, it's okay, we can make this work. Okay, so we've got that, and then we've got this one, the 3-inch piece. Come on, what is going on here? My adhesive is giving me issues. Okay, so there is just barely a gap between the top piece and this middle piece, which is why I wanted to kind of wait and do the rest of the page first, because then we can add this over top and cover most of that gap so that it's less noticeable, because the brocade chain will be directly across it. So now the one thing that I did do that I should have waited on is this. We need to add our mirrored scallops underneath this piece. Okay, so underneath here is where that needs to go. And I should have added it first and I didn't. So we're going to go back. Luckily, we can pop this up like so. And I'm going to place this so that the straight edge of this solid centerpiece of this punched border is right along the edge of the top of this paper right here. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And I'm just going to add just a little bit of adhesive on top of there just to make sure our paper stays down. So that's basically our page, and we will add some photos to it in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and assemble the right side of this layout, and then we'll get to photos. Okay, so unlike last time, I'm going to go ahead and do this a little bit differently. We're going to go ahead and place some repositionable adhesive down the edge that's going to be towards the bottom. We're going to go ahead and place it right along the edge of that center ribbon, solid ribbon strip on this punched border, just like that. Okay, and then we can go ahead and place this down where we want it on our layout with no issues. Okay, so we're going to place this so that the pretty dark sea green ruffle is over the top of our splotchy paint paper. All right, let's arrange some photos and determine whether we need to mat anything or not. Okay, so I've got more pictures of inside the museum. When you go to the Trinity Library and look at these photos of the Book of Kells, there's an audio tour that you can download to your phone and be able to listen to if you want. So if you have some earphones, some kind of ability to listen on something that's real close to your ears rather than something that's just like holding your phone out here, it's a really good idea if you have some kind of headphones or something that you can listen in on. Those, you'll be really glad you have those if you're able to do that. And then each time you come to one of these numbers, it will direct you to an area on the tour, and then it will tell you all about it, which is really lovely. And enables you to get a lot more out of what you're seeing, which is nice. This is an example of some of the quills that they used to be able to draw these amazing characters and alphabetical illustrations in the books, which is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and cut just a couple of mats. I'm not going to mat all of these photos, but I am going to mat this one because it is so renowned. I am going to mat, I think, this one and maybe this one and probably this one of my husband. How'd that be? So that means I'm going to need this picture is 5 1/4, so I'm going to need one that is 5 1/2 by 4. So we'll just cut one here that's 4 by 5 1/2. And that will be on the back of this one. And then these pictures, I think this one is a 4 by 4. 4 by 4. Yep, so we need a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And that will be this one right here. This one we could cut down just a little bit and be able to mat it as well. So let's just trim this one down just a little because there's nothing on there to say, you know, there's no details there that we would need to worry over. Okay, so this one's going to be 4 inches. This is working with the photos that you've got, so it's going to be different for everybody. How you decide or what you decide to mat, how many mats you want, what size mats you want to do. It's all going to be different depending on your photos. So there's really no way to guess at that. And this mat, though I would really love to mat that, is going to be just a little small. I think we can make it work. But this photo is 5 1/4, which means it needs to be 5 1/2 long. And then we'll take this piece and we'll cut this in half. So this is 2 1/2. So we're going to cut this at 1 1/4. And it's over 3 inches, so we can add those together and make a mat for that photo. I think that will be good. Alright, so let me get these mounted and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so now we need to do some embellishing. I have come up with 3 clusters of embellishments that I think will work for this page. They do lean more towards green, but several of them have this kind of blue that sort of matches the dark sea green that we are using in these pages. So just trying to add a little bit of that element to each one of the clusters to kind of tie some of the colors together. So I'm just going to add a little bit of repositionable adhesive to several of these, and then just kind of arrange them in such a way that they are a little bit, you know, leaning towards that floral kind of vibe, right? And then the ones are the adhesive that we can still see, we can just rub right off due to that wonderful repositionable adhesive. Okay, so here's one, and I used this kind of neutral color for a reason, because we have the neutral color in our arrangement or in our layout in these beams and the parchments and things, even though the papers that we're using here have more of a white background. So I think it still works all right for what we want because of that. And I don't think I'm going to use actually any foam squares in this particular layout. Just because we've used a lot of foam squares recently and different things, and I think it will be just fine without them, so I'm not going to stress about that. Okay, so we've got this feeling bright because this is kind of a level of academics that I don't pretend to fully understand. So we're just going to go with the whole thing, and I've got a shamrock, I've got a set of leaves, and I've got another dual set of leaves that kind of make a heart shape, and I'm just sort of layering them together. And then we're going to add in this Love This, so that it's not overlapping anything, but just sort of ties all of that in. All right, I like that. I think that works well. So this is our third layout for the Book of Kells. We have one more layout for the Book of Kells, where we actually finally get to see the actual thing, and that layout is coming next time. So I hope you're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope that this has given you some ideas for different things that you can do in your albums, and or that I've just kept you company, which is good, while you scrapbook your own memories in your own way. Thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy your day.